Okay, so first things first is Google Chrome is the best um is the best thing to use for the portal. It seems to work best on Chrome. You know, we've used it on Safari, but sometimes it freezes and sometimes so the portal is a little bit temperamental, I suppose it can be. So I would use Chrome if you have that. So you sign in. So I already have a sign in account, but you can, once you go into funding and tenders, you log in there or create a, yes, it is. Okay, so, right, so you're logged in, or you actually don't have to log in first anyway. You can also go to EU Funding and Tenders portal, go to funding, calls for proposals. Now mine automatically comes up here as Creative Europe program, but you can put the program in here. Okay, on the left. And when you scroll down, you get all the Creative Europe, the open Creative Europe calls, and see European co-development here. So this is purely for the co-development call with the deadline on the 26th of February. Okay, so you have a bit of time, but it's a really good time to get stuck in now. So to give you those few weeks to gather the letters and all the other things that you need. So as we go down here, you'll see the call document. So this gives you the conditions, like everything here is in the call document. It's all the same call document, but this is like your Bible. So make sure you have this beside you when you're doing your application. I'll go through that later as well. So it gives you the date of the call, it gives you all the relevant information. It gives you templates here. So the budget table and the creative dossier, and don't go by these. These are only samples. I would go when you log in and when you create a submission, there will be a folder linked directly to your submission. So use that as the one to download all the templates. So, but it gives you the model grant agreement. It gives you, everything else here, the terms and conditions, all of that, if you want to go through it. So here's the budget overview. So it gives you everything here on this page. But as you scroll down, you'll see here, start submission. So you click that and let's get started. Okay. Slow and it takes a bit of time. It's Friday morning. And we hope that it works. And it's still spinning. Give it a sec. Might try that again. Let's get out of that. I'll start submission again. It's so typical. It was literally working 10 minutes ago. Ah, yes, the joys of live TV. Hang on 1 second now. So I'm going to go and I'm going to quit. Turn off and turn on again. Okay, so we'll start again. And I'll share my screen again in a second. Yeah. Let's see if I can. How typical is this? I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, and hopefully this will work. That is so typical. It's not working. Okay, so like I just said, that Chrome is the best thing to use, but this morning, it must have heard me because this morning it doesn't want to use Chrome. It wants to use Safari. So, okay, so now we're up and running. Okay, so this is when you go into it, when you log in, this is what you see. So my pick is already in here because I've done it before. Do work for Screen Iron too, so that's why their pick is there. So you click on the pick are you type in your PIC number. Okay, and the role here is main contact. That would be me. And then I'm going to be incredibly original and put test in as the acronym. So this is the acronym of your project. And then a very short summary. Now you can go back and change the short summary. Try and get the acronym right though first, but you can definitely go back and change it and as you go along. So save and go to the next step. And it will be notified. And you can read all the small print here. There's a lot of instructions. There's a lot of how-to manuals. There's a lot of that you can get, you can go through. So it's, but if you find yourself that you're just trawling through the stuff and you can't find the answer, that's why we're here. So just give us a shout. So as you can see here, right? So all this information here, right? So we have the deadline. We've got 40 days. That's a nice amount of time to get this done. As you go down, that's the name of the call. And that is the draft ID, this step number here, which you will need. Over here is download Part B template. So these are the templates that you'll use. This is with the Part B, the actual application form itself, the Word document that you'll be doing most of your work on, the budget, the few other things in here that you need. So they'll be in the Part B over here. And here's all your manuals if you want to get really stuck in. So on the important side, we have the contacts, right? So this is me, right? So as I am going to go along, right? So you can add as many contacts as you like. So I've started the application. So I'm as we are the coordinator. So we're the main applicant. So, but because it's co-development, you need a partner. Now you can just go in and continue on the rest of it and go back and add in a partner, but I'm going to add in a partner now. And I'm actually going to add in Media Antenna Galway because that is the Galway office. So we're co-developing a project together. And hopefully you can all see this. So it comes up here. See, these are all the companies you can go through. So I'm going to use this one here because that's the one. So the project role here is going to be main contact for that company in this project. Access rights, they're going to have full access to. First name, I'm just going to put Evelyn in here. An email address. I'm going to put her email address in and she will get an email. Okay, saying that started this application and they're a partner in it. So as you can see here, there's two partners here. Okay, so you have to have at least this. You can have another partner if that's the plan for the project, but you have to have at least two. Okay, so you can add another partner. But like I said, you can also go back in and change that. And there's no harm having add contact. If there's more than one person in a company working on this, add them in here because it's very handy because if you do get an email, if for whatever reason they're looking for more information or there's something specific about the call, that means all the contacts will receive that email instead of that one person who might be on holidays. Okay, so save and go to the next step. Save form. Please be aware the organization will be notified. Yeah. Okay, and here we go. And this is the main page. You're going to get very used to this page, right? So it's similar to before where we have all this on the left, but this is all the things that you will be looking at. So these are all your uploads, and then there are a number of things that you have to fill in actually in the portal itself, and there's a number of things that you upload. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go through each of these parts up here, the edit forms, edit media database, and edit part C, which is the KPIs, and they go directly into the system. And then I'll go through the what you need to actually upload here, right? So there's your Part B templates, and I'll go through them. And just to show what we have the Part B budget tables, creative dossier. There's the rights contracts, co-development agreement, which is a necessity. Then supporting documents, co-production, distribution, and financing. These are all your LOIs that you need. Then there's a PDF with information about the filmworks from the media database, the information on independence and control, and the language of submission documents. So a few of these are templates, and a few of these you have to create the document yourself. But we'll kick off here because there's some things that you can just sort of get out of the way first, which is good, and it won't be hanging over you, so you can actually focus on what you need to focus on. So down here, so this is part A, but it just says edit forms because they can't change the part A. We've asked, but they've tried, but they can't. So this one here, we'll go through each of them. Now, so this is admin, right? So that's the acronym that I put in. That's the test, the very original name. So the proposal title, the actual title itself, and just make sure that certain characters won't be accepted. So just make sure. So the language that it's going to be in is going to be English. Duration of it, let's say 24 months, and the words that describe the project is going to be, so again, it's up to you, right? So audiovisual production, free keywords, whatever, it could be documentary, it could be animation, it could be whatever you think would fit in there. Then the abstract is, if you click this, right, it says that it's clear understanding of the objectives of the proposal, how to be achieved, relevance to the work program. So you're co-developing an animation or a documentary that's relevant and relevant to the objectives of the call. And so give a very brief summary of the project, because bear in mind it will be public. So if you get funded, this part will automatically become public. So it'll go on the portal, at the results portal. So at the Creative Europe, what's called the projects, the actual funded projects. So just make sure that anything you put in, like don't put figures in, just be careful what you put in here. And it doesn't have to be long. It's not going to be evaluated. It's just a handy thing for them to lift and put on the portal. Okay. So then down here, you got there's your proposal ID, which is your SEP number. Has this proposal or a similar one been submitted in the past 2 years? So if you've already put this project in before and it got rejected, you put that in here. If you click yes, then they look for this proposal number. And then there's all these declarations here, right? Fully compliant. Okay. So click all them. You can read through them all, but you need to click all them eventually. So you save the form and it'll highlight. See here, that's in red, right? So it'll highlight that because I didn't put anything in. Okay, and I didn't put anything in here. So it will highlight things if you haven't filled them in properly. So if you go back to table of contents, okay, so that's general information done. Participants, then there are 2 companies here. So no matter how many, whatever companies you put in on that first page, and you can go back in and add another company in, they will show up here. So if you click and show participants details, this is, type of organization. I'm going to say audiovisual producer. Okay. Then we got the application form, name of department. So it's a corporate tool. This portal is a corporate tool. So this is the same portal and a similar type of application that universities will be using for massive science projects and science or research projects. So that's why department names would be important in some companies or in some projects than others. So, but here it would be not applicable. Now you can put in development departments if you want, that's fine. So links with other, so if you have an affiliate, right, you would put it in here. Okay, but here, type, or same group is controlled by, okay. So it's not the same group. So you wouldn't necessarily put that in because you're partners, but you're not in the same group. Okay, so just take that out. Controlled by. They put these new things in all the time, they don't tell you. So yeah, so I would just leave that. I wouldn't worry too much about that. If you get tripped up by that, come back to me on that. So here's the main contact person. As we go down, you know, it's the title, the street, same as organization, right? Same as proposing organization address. That's the main contact person for that. Okay. So yeah, so that's the company that is coordinating the project. Let me save it. We go back to table of contents. Then we go into the budget. And the budget depends on how much you're looking for. So this is just the requested grant amount. This isn't the total budget amount. This is the requested. So you might, so because there's two companies involved, the total amount, the max that you can apply for is 120,000, right? But that doesn't have to be 60 grand and 60 grand. That could be 80 and 40. So let's say 80 here and 40 here. The more level they are, I mean, you could do, you know, 110 and 10, you know, technically you can, but this whole call is about collaboration, and it's about how, so the closer they are, and the same with the rights, the closer they are together, the more authentic it is, the more real collaboration it is, and they're the type of projects that they want to fund. So just beware of that. Okay, so we save the form. So this, again, this is the requested grant amount. This isn't the total development budget. We go back to table of contents, other questions, not applicable, which is nice. Okay, I'm back here. So that's done with that. So you exit the form here. Oh, about to quit the form, no data will be saved. We will save form. Or you can just save and exit form. So it does prompt you to save things which is very helpful. As you can see, because it's very easy to just go back and not save things. So that's the edit forms. Then we go into part C here. I'll go back to media database in a minute. So we go into edit part C. And we have here, so we have the KPIs. Now there's a few things that you fill out now. There's a few things that you fill out at the end of the project. Okay, so we go into the location first. Nice and easy. Country is Ireland. Oops. No. Okay, so, but if I had another country, okay, so if I am, just say I'm co-developing in France, you put both countries in. Okay, because there have to be two countries, two companies from two different media countries. So we go into the type of project and the thematic types, thematic area and types of activities. This is for statistics. This is purely statistical for Brussels. So pick something. There's nothing here for creativity or for culture. So we just pick something that, you know, that fits. So whether you're fit for the digital age or an economy that works supporting small business down here, or, you know, maybe your project's on something else. Maybe your project is on, you know, social fairness and prosperity. You know, maybe that's the content of it, so you can put that in there. But again, don't get caught up in this. This is purely statistical. A lot of this information here, this is all outputs, results, and impact indicators. So it's only at reporting. So you don't need to fill out any of this, only at the very, very end, like in a couple of years' time. So these, you have to fill this out, but when it says participants here, it's talking about companies. It's not talking about the different, how many people are in your company. It's talking about the actual companies. So because there are two companies, and we're going to go to really small companies, so I'm going to put them in here. And it says here, so it's fewer than 10 person, and the annual balance sheet does not exceed over 2 million. So they're the two companies that we are putting into ours. So that's two here, two companies. And then it's going to be 0 and 0. Okay. And then we click save. Save correctly. Nice one. Now this will open up in another tab up here. So we'll go back to here. Okay, so that's part C. So you already have now done part A and part C. Very easy. Okay, so when we go into the next one we're going to go into is the media database here. Now, because this is, when you click into that, it's very call specific. So it goes, not like the other ones, which are more generic forms, but this is specifically for code development. So as you know, you need one previous work that was distributed in 3 countries outside of the coordinator, so it would be outside of Ireland. So you would put that here, and then you put in the project here that you want. So you've got recent work, and you got for that grant request. Okay, so we already have, because so it's carrying stuff over from, carrying information over from where else did I put it in? Okay, so but we add, so previous project, right? Now this is one previous project. So this is the previous project that makes you eligible. You don't put in your whole CV and 10 projects of everything that you've done. One is enough, right? They only want to see one. So you put in the title, it's automatically drafted. It's country of origin, that'll be determined by the agency, year of copyright. It has to be since 2018. So just bear in mind that. So we'll put in 2019. So film genre, fiction, whatever it is, film delivery. So this again, just focus, this is the previous project. The primary audience. So who's it for? Is it for everyone? Is it for adults, children, whatever it is? Film type, is it a one-off series, short film? If you have an IMDb link, if you have an ISAN, like an identifier, put it in here. Give a short synopsis of the project. And then you put in, so it's the link between the applicant company and the work. So if the work was produced by the company itself, you put it here. You click this one here. If it's work where personal credit is eligible, you put that, you click that one. If it's a co-production with another company, you can also put that here, right? But the thing with the co-production with another company, because you're applying as coordinator, you have to be the majority producer of that project, of that co-production, right? So, and they will, and I'll show you how they determine that. Okay, so if we go, say, work produced by the applicant company, or work with personal credit, right? So when you, if you click that again, right? So work produced by the applicant company, it goes straight into the start date of principal photography. And if you put where personal credit is eligible, it brings this up. So this is the name of the personal credit. So if your company, I'm sure you know, if the company doesn't have that credit, a shareholder or managing director can have a producer credit, just producer, not line producer, not executive producer. It's just not director, not co-producer, it's just producer. So that has to be the credit. So the position of the person of the personal credit, so whether that's shareholder or managing director or CEO, so it's a position in the company. And then your on-screen credit, which has to be producer. The only other one that they accept is delegate producer, which is a term for majority producer that you would put in there, but that's the only other wording that they would accept here. So you put in there the information about that. So the start date, principal photography, end date of principal photography, shooting languages. And again, you see that's not, there's no asterisk here. So it's not, but if you can put it in, it's more information you put in, the better. The film length, whatever length it was, the film format, don't say digital, I have to put something in here. So put 90 minutes there. Then the production structure and financing, right? So we add one here. Okay, so this does not, you know, when you think of production structure and financing, you think, well, Screen Ireland put in this, and Section 41 put in that, and, you know, co-producer put in that, and, you know, Belgian tax credit, and all of that. That's what you're thinking. But here, what they want to know is which producer brought the funding to the table. So if it's a co-production, and the producer, and you got the company name there, wherever it's from, the share that it brought. So if your company brought 40%, then you're not the majority, so you're ineligible. So this has to be over 50%. Okay, and the budget that you brought. Okay, so that's what that is. So that's how they determine whether you're majority producer or not. If you put it, and then, so if it's a co-production, put in your co-producer, again, company name, where from, and the share in the percentage, the percentage share of what they actually brought to the table, of the financing that they brought to the table. So if it's a Belgian co-producer and they got funding from Belgian tax credit or Flanders Film Fund, I mean, that's what you put in there, right? So it's whatever they brought, and then the budget. So that's how they determine whether, for this purposes, whether you have the majority funding or not. So that's here. And I know sometimes if you don't have like if it's a personal credit, you might necessarily know what the production budget is, but you should, and the data principle, but you should get, because they're only looking for an overall figure. So you should put that in there. But if it's a personal credit, then this doesn't really matter, really, but they still, because you have that credit, but they still need that information. Then you put in the countries of distribution. So whatever the company name, if it's a BBC broadcaster, the country that it was broadcast in, it doesn't have to be the European country, it can be anywhere in the world. And then the broadcast date. So this is really important. It has to be since the beginning of 2018, I think. So just be careful that that is correct here. So when you save that, so you have to have at least, if it's broadcast, you have to have at least 3 here. Well, yeah, put 3 in anyway. So even if it's, if it's on Apple, you can put Apple, and then the countries, put the different countries in, and then the release broadcast date. And then you will have to show, you don't submit it now, but you will have a sales report because Apple is online. Whereas if it's a broadcast, you can have like a page from TV Guide, to show that when from the relevant country to prove that it was actually broadcast. So a contract with distributor or isn't enough. A contract with says it isn't enough, showing, well, I have it and it's going to be broadcast in March. That's not enough. It's too late. It has to be broadcast before the date of before the deadline date. So you fill them in there. And what's handy about it, if you do have an IMDb link, they can check an awful lot through IMDb. So they can check the credit, they can check the release dates as well. There's a lot of release and box office in that. So if it is, the more information that you put in here, the easiest is, and that they won't come back, searching for it, and it's easier for them. Okay, so that is, and you just need to put in one project. Okay. So then you click submit once you have filled that in. If it's not filled in, then don't, but you can save it as a draft. Okay. Okay, it's telling you to fill in more, but we'll go back. Okay, so that, see here, up here is home, my dossiers, edit dossier, because you're in the database here. So we'll go back to edit dossier. So that's what we just went through, is the recent work, previous experience. And this one here is for the grant request. So this is the information for the project that you're putting in now for development. So you got the original title, primary audience, the genre, platform, user experience, whether it's linear or non-linear. And then the film type, if it's a one-off series or short film. Again, but you won't have necessarily, you might have an ISAN or an IMDb, but it's not obligatory here. See, there's no asterisk. So, but if you do have it, put it in. Short synopsis, and then the start date is principal photography. This is incredibly important, because if you put the start date of principal photography in less than 10 months before, or less than 10 months after the deadline, so that date cannot be, if I can do my maths now, not be before the 26th of December. Is that right? Because it has to be 10 months after the deadline. So if you put in 26th of November, if it's a typo, and even though in the rest of your application it says, that you're starting it in January 2026, it'll be ineligible automatically. Okay, so just be extra careful with this. I've seen it happen, and it is heartbreaking. So just be really, really careful with this. Last deadline, the last email I was sending out to applicants, it was like, just check this date just in case. And there was an applicant who was about to submit, but he had this date wrong. So just be careful. The shooting language, whatever it is, the development cost of your project. So this is the total development budget. And then the total duration of the project. Here you put the cast and crew. They need the director, project leader, and the author creator. Anyway, if you don't put in TBC for managed roles not defined, it's stronger. It leads to a stronger application if you have these already, but you can also add more in. So whatever you have on board, put them in. Okay, so there's voiceover for, so this is for, whether it's graphic artists. So it depends, whatever it is, that there are options here. It won't have everything, but it'll have the majority of things that you need for HODs. Okay, first name, last name, gender, and then nationality. And again, it's no harm having a showing if you have a multicultural team, put them in. That can help too. Okay, so we cancel this. So that's where you put them in here. The locations. So the locations, whether it's a shooting location, post location, studio location. Shooting location, it can be anywhere. Like it's not now here they have post and studio. Studio, if it's an animation, be careful that not but then this is for yeah, just be careful that it is within a European or within a media country, I suppose, which does help. You can do it outside, but it would have to be a certain percentage. It's all about balance. So put the name, a location. So name, if like you're shooting in Dublin, put in Dublin, and then put the country here. Okay. So ownership of rights. So they need these, right? So if it's an original work, they will look for the type of contract with the author, contract transfer of rights, whether it's public domain, option agreement, unilateral declaration, or if it's a co-production, co-development agreement, whatever you have that you're putting into the application, you add that here. Start date of ownership, end date, and date and sign signature. If it's an adaptation and it's based on another work, it'll add another line. So it needs the name of the author, the original title, the type of contract with the original author. So you will need to show two contracts here. Okay, so then we go down to estimated production structure and financing, producer and co-producer. It goes back to that same thing like previously, that who's bringing what to the table. So you're the majority producer of this, so you will bring more than 50%. And actually, it doesn't even look for percentage here, so it's just looking for the co-producers. Okay, it's very interesting because they used to. So there you go. They change things. So yeah. So this is just your producer, co-producer. So whoever you're developing it with, so whoever you're signing the co-development agreements with, you put that in. So your total estimated production budget, including development, right? So this is the total foreseen, and it can change. This is development. They understand that things change in development, but this is what your plan is. So this is the plan that you're going to put in the strategy and your financing strategy. This is the aim for the total budget. So again, you click submit, or you save as draft and you click submit. So go back here. So this will be filled out, and that'll be filled out. And when this is all filled out, you will have hit submit or hit submit again, and there will be another box that appears here that says download PDF. So once that appears, you download it, and then you go back here and then you upload it here. Right, so you upload it to the PDF and information about it. The reason for, I know it's like double work, it's like why? But the reason for that is that the edit media database, when you click here, when you fill that in, that goes straight to the system in Brussels. But it's only people in Brussels that can actually go through the back end of that. They can actually see that. So the evaluators can't read this, but the evaluators need to see it. So that's why you have to download it and then re-upload it so the evaluators can actually read it. Okay. So that's these three here. So that's everything that you need to do directly onto the portal. Everything else you have to download it or you have to upload it as a separate document. So where that starts is, so you download Part B templates. And this is where don't take, like I said before, don't take the templates that are in the front page in the actual portal. So as we download, so I'm just going to change sharing to the full screen. Okay. Now, so we downloaded it. I press download. Things are in the way. Go to my downloads. Template zip. Open it up. Here are your templates, right? So you have, and this is what you work off. These ones. Now you can share them on Google Docs. You can share them whatever way you want to do it, but this is what you work off. So we have the application form, part B, which goes, I'll show you this here now. What? Where'd you go? Okay. So application form part B, you'll hear talking about part B, the part B, this is where it goes. Okay, so you upload here. Now, if you click I here, click all the information buttons here, it will tell you how big, it'll tell you the type of file that I expect here. It'll tell you what is accepted, what characters are accepted and what aren't. The maximum file size for all of these documents here that you upload is 10 megabytes. But for part B, the maximum number of pages is 70. So if this particular document goes over 70 pages, whatever pages are after 70 pages won't be read, won't be uploaded, they won't actually be read, seen by the evaluator. So you have to get it on the 70 pages. It won't be an issue for code development. It's more an issue for slate development, where you can have 5 projects that you're answering all these questions about 5 projects. So then it can get quite tight. So yeah, so just to be aware of that. So we have the application form, we have the creative dossier. So the creative dossier goes here. Okay, again, that's 10 megabytes. So that's going to be all your artistic material for the creative dossier. And there's a template for that. Then we got the detailed budget, which is an Excel, and that goes here. We have the template of independent and ownership control, which is down here. It's about shareholding of the company. And then we have the language of submission documents, which is also here. But all the other ones, you have to gather them together yourself. So rights contracts for the projects, if it's an adaptation, you have 2 separate ones, but you combine them into one PDF, less than 10 megabytes, and you upload here. Co-development agreement, we don't have a template for the co-development agreement. But I was just looking this morning, so I think it's in the call document anyway. But just to clarify so the co-development agreement, it must adequately describe how the partners will collaborate on the joint development of the creative aspects and storytelling. So it has to cover a lot of things. So you might have a co-development agreement already in place, but chances are it won't tick all of these boxes. So you're better off doing one specifically. So it's the creative aspects and storytelling, not just about the financing. The distribution of roles and responsibilities within projects, because that is, the collaboration, the level of collaboration really is the main part of where you're going to get all your points. And if you can show that you're collaborating incredibly closely, including division of tasks, that's very, very well laid out and it's very clear. Budget split, administrative cooperation, risk management. So it's every aspect that changes. So definitely have your due diligence done for this. And then show it's true collaboration. Rights tend to be shared more equally. Yep.
I think we can't see what you're pointing to. We can only see the portal.
Oh, can you? Oh, I'm sorry. Really? Can you see that?
We can only see the Part B and Annex's original form, but not the
funding submission service page.
So you can't see the templates?
No.
No.
We're still on the page where you download the templates.
This one here?
Yeah, like where your cursor is moving there. Yeah, we're on that.
Okay. And can you see this one here? The document?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I'll add that anyway. It's just it's just a paragraph on, that's weird because I'm sharing my screen.
I think you're only sharing your window, not your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely something's hidden, like it's only showing some aspect of it.
Entire screen. Okay. I'll keep going and I'll share things individually then as I go. Actually, that's probably the best way to do it. So this is what so you can see that? Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. So this is the co-development agreement. It's just a paragraph about what needs to
Actually,
be
sorry,
in.
Orla, we can't see it.
Really? Oh, man.
So now we can see kind of a close-up. We could see a close-up of that, the base page that you were working off. Obviously, it's a pop-up or something, is it? That's coming up for you, but it's not appearing for us. Weird.
Documents. Now, can you see everything?
Now we can see it.
Now you can see it. That's annoying. Thank you for letting me know and not letting me talk into the abyss. Okay, and again, if something like that happens again, just let me know, because that's weird. So this, anyway, this is the co-development agreement, what I was talking about. So this is everything that you need to put in the agreement. It's division of tasks, budget split, administrative cooperation, risk management, and then also just make sure, like, technically all the rights can be held by one company, but to show that it's a true collaboration, it's better that it's more equal than that. Okay. So yeah, so these here, so the rights projects, co-development agreements, the supporting documents, all your LOIs, you create that into one PDF, and you upload it here, but the other things are templates. So I'm going to go through some of these templates here. So we'll go through the easy ones first, get them out of the way. So let's see, the first one we'll go through is the template info on independence and control. Okay, so this is about the shareholding of the company. The shareholding of the company, the company needs to be European and needs to be majority European. And it's not just like it's media countries, so UK is not involved in that. So it needs to be from media countries. So as you can down here, there's loads of sheets here. So if you've got 10 beneficiaries, you've got 10 partners, you can put them all in here, but you won't. The instructions are great in all these documents. They're really detailed. They seem to add more detail every year. It's very clear, so you can read through them. But just to give you an overview, here you put in the project name. The SEP number is where you get, the SEP number is over here. Okay, so it's an individual ID for your application. The name of the applicant coordinator, so this would be your company, and then the name of beneficiary 1 would be your partner. Okay, so you put them in there. As you go down to the next tab, this is the coordinator. And then the next one would be your beneficiary 1, right? So they're the only ones that you need to fill in. So for this, right, so you put the name of the share. So if it's your company and it's 3 individuals, you put the names in here, nationality of the shareholders, status of the shareholders. So whether you're a physical person or a legal person. Now, legal person is not your solicitor. It's not your lawyer. Physical person is an actual human being, and legal person is a company. Why they can't say company, I don't know, but it's a legal person. It would be the company. So if you have 3 physical persons, this bit is going to be blacked out because you don't need it. Main activity of the legal person is, that's a company, number of shares and shareholding. If one of the shareholders of your company is another company, you put in legal persons, you put in the main activity, so whether that's a publish holding company, production company, whatever it is, the number of shares that has, the shareholding of your company that it holds, but also you have to put in then the full chain of shareholders of that company. And if a shareholder of that company is another company, then you have to put in the full shareholdings, the shareholders, until you get back to human beings. They want to see that the human beings at the top of the chain along the way are from media countries. Okay, and then you're eligible. Right. So that's when it's getting, as you know, companies in Europe, it's getting more and more complicated. So that's why this is here. But it has to go back, has to end up back with human beings and physical persons, and to show that you're eligible. So that's here. And then the shareholding here. So if I put 100, it adds in here. Okay, so you have to get to 100. And then you fill this in for your other company as well, because the other company also has to be a media country company. Okay, you might have a third company that is that, you know, you might have a Canadian company, say, that is a partner on this, like a co-producer on this or a co-developer, and which they can be in the co-development agreement. They can be, they can be in the application, but you don't put them in here because it's not relevant. Okay, because they won't be getting any of the funding. So that is the Declaration of Independence and Ownership. For some companies, it's incredibly straightforward. For other companies, it's not. Right, so we go back here. So then you upload it here. Okay, and it tells you what, so it's going to upload as an XLS here. So it's not looking for a PDF, it's looking for an Excel here. Then we go into templates and language of submission documents. It's a new one that they've only brought in the last year or so, because the evaluators aren't going to be from your own country, because that's not allowed. So they look for evaluators from 2 different countries. But if you have your project in Latvian, if your treatment is in Latvian, they need to find Latvian speakers from other countries. So you have to put in, and the way that they can do this, instead of, you know, everything being sent to an evaluator and then all of a sudden in the middle there's a treatment in Latvian that they didn't realize and they can't speak Latvian. So that's why every document that you put in here, you put in the ISO code, which would be EN for English, or whatever it is, you put them in here just so they can make sure the evaluators can actually do their job. So here's a proposal acronym, proposal number, again, that's your SEP number, coordinator legal name, that's the legal name of the company, again, not a solicitor or lawyer, the coordinator pick number, and then the country. Okay, so this is just about the coordinator because you're the one actually submitting these. Okay, so that's the language. Then we'll go into, we'll leave the budget table for later. And then for after, so I'm going to break it around another 5 minutes or so. And then go get a cup of tea, and then we'll go through the application form and the budget table. So here we have the creative dossier. As you can see here, the application form and the creative dossier are RTFs. They're text files. It's like, don't use them as an RTF. Don't open them as an, like if I open that. Okay, so if I open this, you just get creative dossier and that's it. Okay, and it says here project 1, insert title of the project. That's all the information you get. Okay, so hard to work on if you open the application like that. The format goes off. It doesn't work. But if I open this as a Word document, the difference is you get a whole page of instructions that isn't on the RTF. So don't open these as RTF. So you open them as a Word document, but don't forget to save them as a Word document as well, because it'll automatically save as an RTF. So just make sure that that's done. So the creative dossier is where you put all your artistic information. So this shows you exactly what they're looking for. So that's why it's important to have it open in Word. So for fiction projects, at Logline, now these information that can be submitted, right? So you don't have to submit all these. You won't necessarily have all of these. And it goes for fiction projects, creative documentary, or animation. So obviously there's different things for different projects. So like, a sample of latest script with dialogue samples, right? That's not going to be in documentary. So go through each of these, see what you have, but make sure that you limit them to whatever it says here. So like series pitch, maximum 3 pages, treatment, maximum 10 pages. Sometimes you have a document that actually, a beautifully made visual document that covers a lot of these things, which is going to be more. That's fine. It can be 20 pages, but just make sure that you're covering all these, that you're not going, that's not 40 pages. Without even a sample of the latest script, so just make sure, because the evaluator only has a certain amount of time to go through these, and you want to be as succinct as possible. You want to make sure you can get the point across but try and make it look as visually attractive as you can. So this will include your episode outline. If you have a visual approach, is really important, artistic approach, our mood board, directors and producers notes, you know, this is the opportunity to talk about the passion of your project, why you're going this, and why you're going to make this film no matter what, even if they come on board, or even if Brussels come on board or not, that you're going to get this done. So this is really important, and this can set the tone for the whole application. So it says there, please respect page limits. They're not indicative, right? So this, I mean, you won't necessarily get docked points, but you don't want to annoy the evaluator either. So, and they mightn't necessarily read them if they go past a certain amount of pages. So that's a creative dossier. So as you go down, you have it all in one file. So there's your project one. This is just like an example. This is what the way you want them to, the way you want it to lay it out. Okay, so there's your project here. And then you put in whatever document you want to present for the project. Okay, so that is the creative dossier, which gets uploaded here in a PDF form, and the maximum size is 10 megabytes. So if it is a very visual one, or if you have an animation Bible or whatever it is, it can be more. So just make sure it's under 10 megabytes. It's 12 o'clock. So I'm going to go through the application form. And if we go through some of the application form, I'll go through the questions and then we can take a short break if that's all right with everyone else. Okay, so we'll open the application form in Word. Don't forget it's in Word. So this is the document that you're going to get very used to. There is one document, one application form for all the different Creative Europe calls. So you have to go looking for your own questions for the co-development call. So here the instructions are great in all of these documents. So do read them. It's generated, shows you exactly, and hopefully it does make sense. Like even like the minimum font size. And I would go with Arial, go with 9 points, people. I mean, that just shows like they're trying to fit them into 70 pages. But if you know, companies are putting in like 7 points, like put them in tiny so that it would fit in 7, but then you can't read them. So that is the minimum you can do. So just stick to that. And then the margins, again, formatting rules, not target. Delete only instructions that do not concern your call, and the document is tagged, right? So as we go down here, right, so you put in your project name, project acronym, and your contact. I mean, it shows you how long the application form is. It actually has an index contents page for an application, which is a bit scary. Right, so see these here, all of these are your tags. Don't delete them. Okay, so it's needed for the processing. Don't understand how it works, but it works. So don't delete these if you're going to delete anything, because people delete the questions to try and fit those 70 pages. So as you go down, as you can see, like I was saying, all of the calls, all of the Creative Europe calls are listed in these questions. Okay, it can be an interesting read to see what's needed from other calls, but for your purposes, you need to find your ones, right? So at this point, then what you need to do is you need to open your call document. Okay, so this is the call document, right? So this is what you need beside you while you're doing this. This is everything in it. Because the application is for every call, there are some things in that aren't relevant to you. So if you're not sure, go back to the call document. The call document has everything in it. Specifically relevant to your call. So if it's not in here, it doesn't apply. Right? So as we go down, so it has everything in here. You're probably all familiar with it. It has the budget, it has the schedule, but co-development agreement. So as we go down, the most important thing at this stage when you're applying is evaluation and award criteria, your award criteria on page 17. Have this open beside you when you're doing your application. The questions specifically link to these. The evaluators are told, okay, for this, for this award criteria, you look at these questions and vice versa. So So just make sure you have this and deal with every single word in these award criteria. Even if you think it doesn't apply to your project, explain why it doesn't apply to your project. But just deal with every single thing, because there are points attached to every single word, and they want to give you the points, and they can't if there's no information there. So just bear that in mind. So as we go through here, so as you can see in green here, right? So for European co-development, so this is specifically for co-development. So I just bold these because it makes it stand out. You can delete the others. Sometimes I'm a bit hesitant to do that at the beginning because you might delete the wrong one. And it has happened in the past where companies have deleted whole questions that were relevant, and because of that, they got 0 marks. So just, but if it's annoying you and they're in your way, you just, I'd grade them out. Okay, so it immediately pops the one that you need. So here it's provide a presentation of the applicant company. So this gives the overall view of the companies and, editorial line, management activities. So all of these things have different headings, so you'll have the coordinator company and you'll have the partner company, but deal with everything, deal with the management, deal with the activities, present position in the national and European markets, editorial line in terms of development and production. So have headings for that. It makes it much easier for the evaluator, and it makes it much easier for yourself then, because then you can see that you've actually dealt with everything instead of trawling through it going, well, that sort of looks like I've dealt with it there, but at least you've dealt with it because you have a heading for everything. So make sure you deal with that. Okay, so as we go down to the next one, now this gives an overall view, so it doesn't look like it's going into your award criteria, but there's a reason they ask for this. Okay, so it feeds in to it. Okay, the next one here is needs analysis and specific objectives. Highlight this. So describe the added value of the co-development approach, in particular with regard to the nature of the project and complementary with the background and experience of the partners involved. Okay, so added value, there it is, 10 points. Added value of the co-development approach, in particular with regards to the nature of the project, word for word. Right, again, break it down so you're dealing with everything. Describe how the production companies will collaborate on the joint development of creative aspects. It's 10 points. This is really important. It's creative aspects and storytelling. It's a whole 10 points. So if you have a financial co-development, agreement or project, it's hard. It's a hard sell for this call. They really want, the whole thing behind this is that they want companies to work together earlier. They want, because it leads to more interesting projects when the creative, and I know it can be difficult, obviously, but that's the whole idea, is like they want companies to work together earlier. So that is this. So immediately those 2 questions are 20 points of the entire application. So here's the European dimension. Describe, I'll go back here. Okay. European added value. It's not applicable for European development. Okay, so great, not applicable. So that's one that you could delete, right? But again, be careful with that. The environment and sustainability and the gender balance and inclusion, right? So there's 5 points for each of these. They expect you to be at this stage in 2025, they expect you to be working with a carbon calculator. What are you doing? What are the policies in the company? What are the policies in both companies? They want to see and how that's going to work together. If and your approach to the actual team itself, the creative team, the casting, whatever it is, whatever the policies in your company. And it's not just about gender balance, it's about inclusion, diversity as well, and representativeness. So whatever that is, you detail it here, and they are looking for a lot more information now than they were when it came out first in 2021. So so whatever your policy here, and training for for staff, whatever it is, I really show that it's important to the company, because that's what these were put in as incentives to make companies deal with these issues. But I think now, because of other funders as well are on board now as well, so and tax credits, that every company is dealing with this. So put down everything you have, but also put it down in relation to this project. Companies have a tendency to talk about, well, well, in the last project we did this, and we did the Albert system, and talk about the whole other project. But you're not actually talking, are you going to do the same with that? So talk about, yes, you did it before and you're familiar with it before, but talk about the plan for this project. What is the plan for this project? So be project specific. People tend to go off and, well, we've already done all this before, so of course we're used to it, but they don't know that you're going to apply it to this project. So talk about this project. And it's the same thing with the gender balance. So with the environment and sustainability, if you read the question very carefully, because some people, read this and go, oh, well, the theme of our show is all about, climate change. So we're going to put in here, but you wouldn't actually necessarily get any extra points for that in this question. Whereas here, they're looking for either in the project content or in the way of managing the activities. So if you're talking about, the cast, the actual themes itself, here you will get extra points, but not necessarily here. So, and again, break it down. Deal with everything. Deal with gender balance, inclusion, diversity, representative. And again, it goes back to training, goes back to all that, and policies. So as we go down, here we got quality. Now there is a question here. I'm looking at it here. I'm looking where the question is up here, and it's not, unless I've missed it. No, I haven't. It's the European dimension of the collaboration, in particular concerning the cooperation between countries of different market sizes, including a partner from LCC Group A or Group B, as well as the linguistic and geographical diversity points. So with this is, so the thinking behind this funding call in the first place was that we are considered a high production capacity country. We have that expertise in the country, but there's a lot of other countries that don't have that expertise, and their industries are small and they're trying to grow, but they can be struggling. So most of the Eastern European countries would be considered a low capacity country, along with Greece, Portugal, Luxembourg, Iceland. So if you are working with one of those countries, it shows that you will get more points. Like, you don't have to work with, you can do a partnership with France or Belgium, that's fine, but you will lose a couple of points. Like, it's just, that's what's going to happen. You will, but you can balance it out in other ways. It can be really, really strong, but just be aware that if you're not cooperating with one of those countries, you will lose out. Whereas if you are collaborating with, Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania or any of them, you will get a couple of extra points, and you will show us like you are bringing the expertise to that company, and helping them, helping their industry there by bringing that expertise in. So that's what this is here. So they will be looking for that. It's 10 points. So the European dimension, if it was, for example, if it was, Belgium and France, it might necessarily get or Austria and Germany. It wouldn't necessarily get a very strong European dimension, because they're so close together and they're considered the same. So think wide. It was the way that we used to be with UK and Ireland. That wasn't considered European, really. So just have the diversity, and and we do have, if you are collaborating with a larger country, we can always say that well, Ireland is small, and we can justify, we can make a case that we are small, we are at the edge of Europe. It is a small, it could be a small regional project that you're doing. It's a small company, whatever it is. Put that justification in here and because it's how you put it on the page. Okay, so we got quality as we go down here. So that's all that. We have the quality of the project, concept and methodology. Look at it, not applicable. All these questions. That's great. So that's another one that you don't fill in. And you don't fill in this one. You don't fill in the format. This is all for skills and talent development, marketing network. So these are all the other calls that you don't need. Potential. Is the potential one European co-development? Yes, it is. So we'll highlight this. Which aspects in the project will contribute to its potential to reach larger and more diverse audiences, including young digital native audiences? Describe the project's potential to cross borders, taking into account subject, creative team, intended cast, international ambition according to the cast, and collaboration with non-national partners. It's all here, right? Somewhere. Hang on, it's quality writing. transnational appeal, there we go. Potential to reach audiences at European and international level, transnational appeal. These are all separate headings. So break them down in your answer. You know, transnational appeal concept, potential to reach audiences, and these deal with all these separately. The creative team separate, the intended cast separate. Show how, you know, why you're picking them and why they're going to work internationally. What other projects have they done? Are they, you know, familiar with that, you know, cast or creative team in that particular country, or, you know, and don't just use it as it's not just about the two countries who are collaborating. It's beyond that, right? So you might be two countries collaborating, but the impact of this project is going to go beyond these two countries. So make sure you do that. Okay. So also here, which isn't a question in this, is the quality and the creative strength of the project, creative potential of the project. Strength and distinctiveness of the idea, quality of the writing, narrative choices, creative potential. And this isn't an answer. This is your creative dossier. So make sure that you're dealing with all of this when you do your creative dossier, because this is what they're going to be attaching points to. Okay. As we go down here, project management. So the project management covers a few different things. It will cover cost effectiveness and financial management. Okay, how the budget is conceived in the most economical way. And please explain your co-financing strategy. Your risk management, you have to do this. I would do, you know, generate the risks. You know, they want you to be aware of your weaknesses. Okay, so where in this project, and have it's specifically for the project. So if it's a documentary and you're relying on accessibility to a particular person, what happens if something happens to them and you've no access to it? So what are the risk mitigation measures? So it's very project specific. And it also, you know, it can be funding, it can be cast availability, it can be whatever it is, put it in here. I wouldn't go more than 6 or 7, really. Here, you don't want to list 20, you know, but I would, you know, it has to be proportionate to the actual project. And the company, you know, maybe a company that you're dealing with, maybe you're co-developing it with a company in Ukraine, you know, I mean, and Ukraine are part of it now. So, so, you know, and there's risks there regarding working with a company like that. So put them in, what are risks for them, and put that in here. So we got project management. So here we have described the overall distribution of roles and responsibilities between partners, including division of tasks, budget split, administrative cooperation, risk management. Everything that you put in your co-development agreement should be expanded on here. Okay, so as you see here, distribution of roles and responsibilities, word for word, right? It's here. Adequacy of development. So then we go down. We've got project teams here. So project teams, this will be the main staff from both companies, and also like any head creative staff that you have already involved, or HODs, or writers, or whatever it is. But you definitely put in the main people from the companies that are going to be working on it. Development strategy. So this is particularly important because development. Now there's a couple of, this is broken down into now it's 10 points, and it's only 10 points because most of the points here go on the collaboration, how you're working together. Development strategy is important because it has to be coherent with the budget. It has to like sort of make sense for the actual project. So it might just look like 10 points here, but it's actually, it has an impact across everything. So here there's a few different stages. So it's describe the stage at which the project is submitted and identified its needs in terms of development, and then describe the envisaged activities during the development of the project. So you talk about where it's at, and then you talk about where it's at and what needs to be done and what's done already, and the history of the project, all positive, of course. Then describe the envisaged activities during the development of the project. Development schedule until the start of production, including, and break it all down, script writing, script editing, research work, choice of director, all of this, and the breakdown development budget. So your schedule needs to be, like if it's a 2-year development, it needs to be month by month, or 2 months, whatever it is. But And it's not just about the creative element. It's about, you know, so yes, it might be script one and, you know, meeting with writers, but it's also about going meeting with financiers. It's going to markets, it's going to pitching forums. It's doing all that, it's casting, it's looking for locations, it's doing recce's, it's doing a teaser, whatever it is, everything goes into this schedule. So because it's so they can see, so the person reading it can see at a glance, it's like, okay, well, they're going to the right market for them at the right time. And that would make sense because there's no point going to, you know, meeting financiers before you have this done. So everything has to make sense. Here. You also, and a lot of people miss this completely when they're doing it, but you also have to put down the breakdown of the development budget, right? So even though you are putting in the massive Excel, which we'll go through, but make sure that you have just a short breakdown of the headings here as well, okay? Because it's a very big budget in the Excel and it's quite clunky. So here, it needs to be clearer in this, so put the narrative in here. And then the time schedule must indicate, so that month by month, indicate key dates, especially start date of production phase, first day of principal photography, or first day for video games, but that's not relevant here. So this is everything, this is development, but it's also pre-production as well, right up to the first day of production. So that is your development strategy. Okay, so adequacy of development plan schedule and development budget. Okay, so as we go down, then we got the financing strategy. So the financing strategy is, again, like development, it's two-pronged, right? So this is the strategy to finance the development of the project, and this is also the strategy to finance the production of the project, right? So you talk about development, which is going to be, well, it's going to be 70% from this, but also that, where's that other 30% coming from? So it could be Screen Ireland, it could be co-producers, it could be, what, you know, MG, whatever the setup is, put it in here. Then the financing strategy, excuse me. The financing strategy then would be more detailed. So this is, even though this is just for development, they want to see that the project's going to be feasible, that they want to put money towards it. So this is, you draft a preliminary financing plan. They like plan A and they like plan B. They want you to be ambitious but realistic. You know, write that up on the things. They want you to be ambitious. They want you to push it, but they also want you to be very aware of what's realistic and what will work and what isn't. And the way, you know, the market is at the moment and on fluctuations, it's like, it's, you know, you need to have a plan B because plan A isn't necessarily going to happen. So, so make sure you have a plan B. So you mentioned the main options, suitable potential partners at national and international level, as well as initial financial elements already in place that should be confirmed. Right. So that's, and then of course it's not just going to be your little financing strategy, your financing table. It's, you know, there has to be a narrative around all this as well, that it makes sense, that you're dealing with the right people, a name drop, you're dealing with the right financiers or broadcasters, whatever it is for your project, that will work for your project. As we go down here to, right now, and over here, just, yeah, there's, see, it's all there, adequacy of production costs of project, development budget. Okay, in terms of diversity of sources of funding foreseen, see, that isn't in the question, right? So compared to the estimated costs in terms of awareness of suitable financial partners and territories target, and in terms of diversity of sources of funding foreseen. If you have, well, all our budget's going to come from Screen Ireland and Section 41, it's like, you know, be a bit more diverse than that. So, and they like, you know, if they like, if you're innovative in that financial, you know, model area, they like that. They like to see that you're, you know, thinking outside the box, that because of the way things are at the moment, it's they're interested to see, well, how are you looking for funding for projects? Is it a private investment, whatever it is, but put it in. So and as you can also see that if these aren't in the questions, so if you had just answered the question as is, you wouldn't have seen this, so you wouldn't have dealt with this. You wouldn't have thought the diversity of sources of funding was an important thing, but when you actually look through this, you see. So it's really important to have these beside you at the same time. As we go down, then we got communication, position or promotion and marketing, which is, so marketing strategy is only 5 points. Was 10, it went down to 5. I expected to go back up. in the next couple of years, but because it is becoming more and more important, as everybody knows. So this strategy, including allowing to reach audiences in an early stage, which they want to see. Again, everything is happening, all that collaboration, marketing, everything, they want to see everything happening at an earlier stage. Including the definition of USP, what's different about your project, your target audiences and markets, so you know who you're targeting, you know who your audience is, but how are you going to reach them? And again, if you're talking about that, it's going to be for kids, going to be for young audiences, they're going to look at this going, no, it's not. So, so make sure that it's a really strong marketing. And yes, you might know, and it might be a guess, but you should have some idea of the project and other projects like yours. So what have they done? What have you gotten any inspiration for them? What has worked for those other projects? So have a look at those other projects and show and think of innovative marketing and audience engagement tools and promotional activities. So really have a think about what like if it's a documentary, you might have interested certain groups that you've built up that following with from a very early stage, depending on what the subject matter is behind your project. So just think about all those things. But again, it's only 5 points, but still it's 5 points, and that that can get you over the line. Then we have distribution. So your plan distribution strategy at national and international level, taking into account the target audience, distribution methods foreseen, and the distribution partners already in place are envisaged, and in which countries you consider important for the distribution of the projects and why. Right, so as you look here, relevance of the European and international distribution strategy, 10 points. Your target audience, the distribution methods foreseen, and again, if it's for a young audience that that is relevant to you, that your marketing is relevant, that the distribution, that you're not going for RT1 on a Sunday evening, that the distribution strategy is specifically for your project, not just what works in general, but it has to be project specific. Distribution method foreseen, partners in place are envisaged. Again, ambitious but realistic. But if you sort of have to have somebody, you have to be talking to people already, really, to get those points. That's why those LOIs are quite important. And if you're talking about a distributor or sales agent, saying, oh yeah, I've been talking to them and worked with them before, really strong relationship, and they really like this project, and they're looking forward to it. But if you don't have an LOI confirming that, then I go, you sure? So anybody that you're really definite on, have an LOI. If you don't have an LOI, but you're pretty sure, you can talk about companies that you really want to work with and why. Very specific. Again, they've done previous projects before, and you like what they've done with that project. So, and they're explain why you're talking to those companies, but definitely name drop, talk about the specific companies, even if they're not engaged yet, they're not on board yet, but talk about companies. At least then you can show that you have that market experience and that you know where you want your project to go and where it'll work. Awareness of the markets, you come back to that, and European international vision. Relevance of choice of territories, neighboring countries, regions, Europe and other continents. This, I've noticed that a lot of Irish, some, not a lot, Irish projects fall into the trap of, it's great for diaspora. I hate that word. Diaspora in Australia and the US and UK, and some across Europe. It's like, there's more than that. Okay, it can be an Irish story, and you don't have to focus it on just the diaspora, right? If it's a strong story, it'll go beyond that. And that's why talking to a distributor, having an international distributor or sales agent that's interested in your project, not necessarily on board, but they're interested in the project, shows that there is an international potential for the project. So even it could be a small Irish story, but that it has an intentional. Okay, sorry, I just thought there was a question there. So as we go down here, so they are all the points, right? So that's all the points, that's everything, right? So all of them are broken down in these questions. The only thing now, right, so the impact, we'll go back through here, it's not applicable, impact isn't applicable. Then you go down to the work plan. So the work plan is separate. I was going to take a break, but if everybody's okay just to hang on, because it's already 12:30. How did that happen? Technical issues. So I'm happy to stay on if everybody else is. and we'll go through the work plan and the work packages in relation to the budget, right? So the way, so I'll bring up the budget. Okay, you take a deep breath with this bit because the budget is alive. The budget is a whole separate beast that we need to deal with separately. Okay, so I'll talk about the work packages first, I suppose, briefly. So with regard to the work packages, so you've got the strategies done, and then the work packages and the tasks and deliverables and everything that I'll go through here, they get picked out and they get put into the portal. And that is as your project goes on and the reporting happens, this is what you will be dealing with. This is how Brussels will see that how you're getting on, you know, that the tasks are relevant to the strategy. So it's like a further expansion of of the strategies that you have, right? So you do your strategies, the big thinking, and then you're picking out the individual tasks and putting them in here, right? So they have to relate back, but also the tasks you have here and the deliverables, the relevant cost related to those tasks and deliverables need to be matched in the budget, right? So there are work packages here and there's laid out different packages. It's the same way in the budget. It works out, you know, there's different packages, the same titles, but the costs have to relate to those particular work packages. So what I've noticed before, like a couple of some companies have done, is that they're thinking, okay, I can't get my head around the text and the narrative of the work packages, but I have my budget done. So they have a budget and they put the budget into this particular Excel. You can't put your own budget into this particular Excel file. And then they're able to go, okay, and then they relay it back to the narrative. So they can see the figures and they can create narrative out of that. So so whatever way you want to do it, you can do the budget first, or you can do the work packages first and then put a cost on them, or the other way around, whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong way with regard to that, but just that it all correlates. So again, because this particular document is for all Creative Europe calls, there are some things that don't apply. Okay, so but most of the instructions are good. But so we'll just stop talking. We'll just go down through them. So it has like here, the coordinator remains fully responsible for coordination tasks, even if they're delegated to somebody else. So just remember that you are the one that has to be, you're the one that's liable at the end of the day, right? So coordinated tasks cannot be subcontracted. Okay, well, we'll go down. So it says milestones here and deliverables. So so I'll just go through it. Just stop talking and go through it. Okay, so work package 1. Okay. We go back to our Bible, we go back to our call document, and down here on page 19 is what they're looking for, right? Don't make up your own work packages. Don't make up your own deliverables. To a point you can, but specifically the work packages, okay? They want project management and common activities, right? So your first work package is going to be project management common activities. It's not going to be anything else, right? So you literally copy and paste it and put that in here. Okay. So your second one is, so you copy and paste this. They have one work package in the template, so you copy and paste it. Go down. Second one is project coordinator development activities. Third one is the project partner 1 development activities. And then you've got another, if you have a third partner, then you put that here. So the project management common activities, this is anything, this is maybe you're meeting up, maybe you're traveling to go to markets and you're doing that work together. You can put that in the top one, right? Maybe you're doing the script together, you're putting that in the top one, right? But there are going to be responsibilities and roles that are are separate for each company. So there you put the costs into your particular work package. So there's one joint one, then there's one for the coordinator and one for the partner, right? So this is why your division of the roles needs to be crystal clear all the way along, so that it's very clear who's doing what and the cost, because that boils down to the amount of money that you're going to get and which partner is going to get at the end of the day. So these are your work packages. I'll talk about deliverables in a minute. So we'll go back here. So the duration, you can start deliverables from month 1, right, which will be next month, which would be February. Even though it's really from February 26th, because that's when they can be eligible, would be from that date. So, but it's going to go, project management is going to take 24. You're not going to go into production for 24 months, so it's going to be the full duration. The lead beneficiary usually is the coordinator company, right? Coordinator, whatever the name of your company is. The objectives is, the objectives to, manage the project and common activities between, for this particular co-development project. And then you put your tasks in, right? So this is tasks specifically relating to the project management and common activities. So that could be, travel to, again, it depends on what way you're dividing the roles and your project. So it's all very project specific. Wouldn't put more, I'd put around 5-6 tasks for each. There might be less for the first one. And then for the other 2, for the individual, you might have 6, I think around 6 or 7 tasks per company, which is a good number. And if you find that there's a hell of a lot more to tasks, group them group them under bigger headings. So you put the task name, you put the description of it, you put the name. When it says participants, it means company. So if, here, if it's your company, you put it here, it's coordinator, COO is coordinator, so you put COO here. If it's the partner company, you put that here, and you put beneficiary, right? It doesn't say partner, it's beneficiary, so it's Ben. So the partner company is Ben, and the coordinator company is Ku, right? So in-kind contributions is subcontracting. No, try and have no here, right? Specifically. It can be a headache if you have to put in subcontracting. It can happen. But it really means that subcontracting means that if you're literally taking some of the budget that you're getting from Brussels and you're literally handing it over to another company to completely manage and make all the decisions and do that for whatever it is. Like sometimes casting can be treated as subcontracting. You might have bring on casting director during the development phase, obviously, and they would make a huge amount of decision. But at the end of the day, you are making the final decision as the lead partner, as the company. So you could argue that it's a service. So in the creative process, you could argue that all these are services, right? Because the ultimate decision making is down to you. So I would put in-kind contributions. There's always a cost, right? So there's always a cost with in-kind contributions. So no, don't put it in here. So try and keep that as no. Milestones. They don't want to see milestones. There's enough going on with the tasks and deliverables. Milestones are, just ignore them. Okay. So you don't want milestones. Down to deliverables. So because they don't want to see a receipt, they don't want to see an invoice. They do not want to see an invoice. It's not like it was before when you'd have to send a whole accounts to Brussels with every invoice and everything. They don't want to see that anymore. They don't want to know, right? But what they do, and that's why the contracting process at the beginning is quite arduous, because they want to make sure, because this is a grant and they will give you the money, and then at the end of the day, they don't want to see an accounts. They want to see your deliverables. They want to see, okay, what did you do with the money, right? So the deliverables are here. This is what they want to see. Don't make up your own, please, right? And if you do make up your own, they're going to come back to you. If you get funding, and they're going to come back to your contracting stage going, no, this is what we want, okay? So in work package 1, they want the further planning of the co-development activities up to entry of production of the project, right? This is your actual plan and how you're working together, okay? It could be a report. And it's basically, you're taking how you work together. You're taking it from the application and you're updating it. Okay, so at the end of 24 months ago, this is what we actually did. This is how we work together. That's what goes here. So it's further planning. And the next one is updated creative, financing, and marketing materials. Depending on the division of work between coordinator and partners, these must consist of the following deliverables. So updated creative development, updated research work. So it doesn't say script version 5. you know, because you mightn't have a script version 5. So if you don't have a script version 5, then you won't get the money. Because if you said you're going to put in script version 5, and you don't, then that's, you know, well, you said you do it, but that's what releases the money. So that's why they have changed it, because the development is such a changeable process. That's why they have put these updated. So the word updated becomes your friend. So it's updated creative development, your treatment, your script, your Bible, whatever it is at the end of the page. So then update on research work taken, visual material, update on key artistic crew and casting. So if one company, so if you decided that your partner company is going to specifically deal with casting our locations or the crew, then that update, that will go under their work package. Okay. Updated financing and production budgets and schedules, updated distribution and marketing strategies. So divide these between whoever's doing. Updated distribution and marketing strategies, you can divide them. So you can have a finance strategy, finance and strategy, and then production. You can split them out if you want, or you can keep it all as one. Updated distribution and marketing strategies, again, split them out. So it'll be 2 separate deliverables. And then you've got the ISA, the interoperable standard identifier, and link to the final work if produced. So it puts that if produced. So as we all know, development doesn't necessarily go according to plan, if it ever goes according to plan. So you mightn't have the link to the final work at the end. So if it's not produced, but you still spent all the money, and it's not produced yet, or it had to be shelved for whatever reason, but all the money was spent in the way that you said you would, that's fine. Okay, so just said, but put it in here anyway, but it just says if produced. Okay, so see, each of these delivers must feature in at least one of the work packages. Okay, and again, if some of them are common, you can put it into work package 1. So whatever way, but these are the only ones that they want. You can add more in if you want, but don't. Like, you're just adding on another headache, so don't. Just stick to these. And the way you put them in is, so you got your deliverable name. So you literally copy and paste it. Let's see, let's stick that here. Right? You literally copy and paste it, word for word. Whatever work package it is it the joint one? Is it your one? Is it your partner's one? The lead beneficiary is the company, whether it's you or the partner. And the type will be a document, right? Not a pilot or website or patent filings. It's a document. Okay. Here, dissemination level. If you put in classified, they won't be able to read it. So don't put it in classified. If you put in public, because this, as soon as this is gospel as soon as it goes in. So if you put classified, they can't read it, but they can't do anything with it. If you put in public, it'll automatically be made public. Automatically. So don't put public in. So you put sensitive, right? So it's sensitive down the whole way. I put report document down the whole way. If it is a link to whatever, you can have a document with a link, right? So just put report down. Due month depends. So if you're happy that the artistic and the creative material is going to be finished on month 12, put in month 12. Give yourself a couple of months leeway just in case it goes a bit longer. So maybe put in month 14. You can have everything, give everything up at the very, very end of the entire process. But then it's a headache because you're literally scrambling to get all of that stuff done, and you might have forgotten things that had happened a year ago. So if you have it, if you're happy that it's done, and it's happy it's going to be done, upload it, because then they can double check in Brussels. They can see how the project is going, is progressing. They like that contact. So I would have it up, but again, be a bit easier on yourself, maybe with 16 just in case, right? So description, including format and language, EN and PDF. So this is what you do the whole way down. So you'd have your deliverable numbers. So you copy and paste this in like 3 times. Usually it'd be 3 times. So you got the joint, coordinator, and partner 1. Okay. And as we go down, so you fill them out. As we go down, all of the rest of the stuff is not eligible. Well, except for 1. Right. So estimated budget, no, because you're putting in a budget already. Staff effort, no, they don't want to see it because it's all laid out in the budget, which I'm going to go through. God, sorry, it's taking so long. Subcontracting, if you were putting in subcontracting, you'd have to talk about best value for money. How do you intend to ensure it? So, and why is subcontracting necessary? So it is a headache to put in subcontracting. So don't. Events and training, not applicable. This is for festivals and skills and training and stuff. So you don't need to put that. You need to put in timetable. So this is the tasks. So the months that the tasks are going to happen, you put them in here, and so you have 1.1, 1.2, and then in one table go into 2.1, 2.2, right, and 3. So have it in one table and just list the tasks and fill beige. All right, so a bit of arts and crafts here. You color them in. And then you wouldn't necessarily have that one there. So you pick one of them. And then declarations down the bottom, it's yes and yes. This annexes is really frustrating because this is not applicable. Again, this is one document for every call, so just go with the call. Like it looks for CVs. They don't want CVs, right? So just ignore that. Okay, so they are so that's the part B, right? So that's where the work packages fit in part B. And we'll go through the budget. Now, so the budget is it's a macro document. So you enable macros. Okay, so we make sure you enable macros because this document is alive. Okay, so they have the instructions. So you'll see all the tabs down at the bottom. Hopefully everybody can see that. The instructions here, the instructions are great. And every year they add a little bit more because there's obviously reasons, because there's a reason why they need to explain more all of these things. And they also highlight the first things that you do and the most important things. So read the instructions, right? It shows you exactly what it looks for. It shows you that this was something that was happening a lot, that the figure that you're looking for in this document didn't match the one in the edit forms, the one that we did initially. So yeah, it was causing a complete headache for Brussels. So that's why they're highlighting it here. Anything that's highlighted here, it's highlighted for a reason. So here, so you fill in everything here in the instructions first, because it fills in the rest of the form, because it's a macro document. So insert the name of the call, right? So the name of the call is this. Right, so that is the name of the call. Okay, it's CodeEv. The acronym of the project, mine was incredibly original, test. The maximum grant amount as stipulated in the call. So if there's you and one partner, the maximum amount that you can get is 120,000. If it was another partner, then it'd be 180. The maximum co-financing rate as stipulated in the call is 70% for co-development. Okay, so they can only give you 70% of your entire budget, max. Down here, it goes to employees. So this is, so whether that's, senior producer, or a development person, or, development person, development, whatever whatever way you want to do it, you put it in here, and it'll carry across this into the rest. So the next one you fill in is beneficiaries list. So you add a beneficiary. So you put your name in here first. So I'm just going to go to work coordinator. Actually, no, because I'm going to write in coordinator. Oh, if I could spell coordinator, right? Acronym COO, and the country is Ireland. Then you add a beneficiary. Double click the add a beneficiary. Okay, and then I'm going to just write in partner. Okay, and then that's safe, right? Okay, and then you apply changes. So double click apply changes. Looks like your computer is crashing. It's not. Let it do its thing. Okay, and job done, right? So that has added in. So at the bottom here, there was just one beneficiary tab, and now there's two, right? So that's beneficiaries. We go into work package list, and you copy and paste exactly the same. So for first one is, I'm literally just going to copy and paste it. Okay, we add a work package. And then the next one is, there we go. Now here you would generally do, you know, you could put in your own company name. Just gonna add another work package. Okay, right. Partner two. Right. Partner and that. Right now, if I go into beneficiary 1 here and beneficiary 2, there's only one work package. Right? Okay, that's just automatic. Whereas if I go back here, I've got 3 here, and if I double click apply changes, again, computer's not crashing. Job done. And then once we go into beneficiary 1 now, you will see that it's carried across all the other ones. Okay. But it's the same in the 2 sheets. So it's the same in the coordinator and it's the same in the partner. Now, so this budget is not a wonderfully bespoke budget that you would use necessarily in your day-to-day job as a producer, but you have to make a fit. You can't add lines. You have to make a fit. So we'll just put in, so this is the project management common activities. So this is the cost. So we'll put in months. It's going to be 24 months working on this at, say, a month. Same thing. Right, so I'm going to go same, so same level. Right, so that's that is purely for the costs of the coordinator in work package 1. Right, and then it'll be cut when we go into beneficiary 2, it's going to be, they can fill that in here too, the costs of the partner for work package 1. Then here, this is coordinator development activities. So this is where the coordinator is going to put in all their costs. Now there might be, because so they could put up here in the top one, they could put travel in because they're meeting your co-developer, right? Specifically, right? So they're going to have 5 trips, 500, okay, for travel, and they're going to stay with them in their spare room, so there's no accommodation. Okay, so that is really what you would fill in there, really, unless you're doing something together, like unless the script is very much together and you're working on that together, you will put that in there, your costs. Then here it's if you are going to, well, actually, yeah, you like if you're both traveling to go see the financiers and thing, you would do that together, so you would fill that in there as well. Whereas here there would be a certain amount of cost for their specific role in this project. Again, go with months, and then, but it might be, natural persons under direct contact, but most things, you see fees down, if you go through and see what's actually here. So you got fees, most things will go into fees. You got the artistic speakers, right, cast, anything like that would go into here. Then you've got, what else have we got? Yeah, pretty much most things. And then if there's other, if nothing really, there's no way of fitting stuff in here, you put in other, put in here, and then at the very end, there is an any comments sheet at the very end. That's where you fill all this in. So you put in, you fit it in wherever you can, which might make sense. And then you put it into any comments and you break it down there. As we go down here, this is work package 3, but you're not going to fill this out because this is the partner's work package, right? This is the partner's budget. So, but this beneficiary 1 in this sheet, this is just your costs. So when we go into beneficiary 2, this is just the partner's costs. So they ignore work package 2 here, and then they go straight into here. So they're going to do fees 2, they're going to do production costs. Maybe they're going to do a teaser. Maybe that's what the partner is going to do. And that's going to cost it won't, but so okay. So, and then whatever it is, there's communication costs, it could be involved with the communication of the website. So whatever way to split it out, these are where you put the costs. So that's something that if you have the budget, and it might be easier to just break the budget down into this, and then it's very clear of who's doing what, and then you can fill in the tasks. So just make sure that they correlate. So as we go across here, right, so then they're both filled in. So the estimated total cost for the beneficiary 2 is 79,000 and the coordinator is 66,000. Well, usually the coordinator is more, so we'll stick something else in here. We will say here, right, they're going to pay for writer, say. Okay. So as we go into the estimated costs of the budget, right, so all the other tabs, anything blue, you don't change, right? So, but it lays it out. So you can see at a glance how much your company is getting as opposed to the partner. So your company beneficiary, and then the total costs are here the whole way down. And then if you go into proposal budget, it's the same thing. It's just lengthways, right? Really do it. But all the way down here is this, right? So this is the max that you can apply for, because the total we're allowed is 120. And so the max that you can apply for is this. Now, if you decide that, well, actually, yeah, no, this is the max you can apply for. If you're struggling with this and you feel like, well, one company should get more, but they don't have the match funding, because the idea is that both companies have to have that 30% match funding. So you can only get 70% of each budget. So this is what it is. There is if you're struggling with it and you want this to be changed, or maybe the other company can't get that match funding, there is talk to me. But ideally this is what you need to do. Okay, so it's 82 and 37. Right, so this is the max. So these are the figures that you put in A, right? And you might have a budget done already and you think it's fairly straightforward, but it's not. And the reason for that is that if you go back in here, there's direct costs. So they automatically, or indirect costs, they automatically put 7% on the budget, on each of these work packages as an indirect cost to cover your rent, to cover overheads, to cover all of that, you know, bank charges, and all of that. So that goes in. So you might have it, you know, set, but then the 7% might throw you off. So fill this in first, and then you put in the amount in the part A. So there's the work package overview, right? So how much each work package is going to cost. The person months, because they go for months. So when you're talking about your staff costs, they go for months. Then it's depreciation costs. You might have equipment that you're using, chances are you won't, but because again, this is for development, not for production, but there is production with teaser, which is eligible. So, but if you feel something fits in here, put it in. And then you got the ending comments. So after you've done all of that, you save it as a XLSX or an XLS, and you upload it, because you cannot upload the macro just because. Right, so we go back here and you upload it there. So everything here, so then you've got the part B, you've got that done, you upload it as a PDF, you save it as a PDF and you upload. You upload the budget table as an XLS or XLSX. You create dossiers, a PDF, you got your rights contracts now, you got your co-development agreement, you've got all your LOIs in one document, one PDF. And then you got your PDF downloaded from the media database. You've got your information on independence and ownership and control, and you got your information on languages of submission documents. So as you can see, you've got 40 days to the deadline. You need the 40 days. You know, you need that to actually start compiling this. And you might wonder, why on earth am I doing this? I was going to say it's free money. It's not free money. It's a grant, right? So in one case it is free money, but the way I like to look at it is like you get paid for you have paid for the effort of doing this, right? So there is a lot in it, but it is free money, and it like grant money is free money. I'd stop saying that. But it is a grant, and you have to do what you say you're going to do. If things change, it's development, that's fine. Such as you'll need to explain that that you're doing something else instead, or things have gone our ways, whatever it is. that you will talk about, but it is a grant. So that's it. So at the end, you see here, you've got so you can go back to participants list if you want to change the information about the partner or add one in. You got validate here, which is if you click validate throughout the process, it'll bring you up, it'll highlight. If I click validate now, it's going to, okay. It hasn't been submitted, but probably because there's too many things. So if you click validate, it'll bring up all the things that you haven't filled in, and might bring up like you missed an asterisk question in one of the in part C or whatever. So it'll bring all that up. So click validate a few times and then you hit submit. So if you hit submit, you can only hit submit when all of the asterisks are satisfied, and you send it in. If you've decided that, okay, I'm waiting for that one letter, you know, without that LOI, it's not strong enough, and I don't want to put it in until that LOI is in. Put it in, just submit it a few days beforehand, and then you can wait. So then if the letter does come in, it's very easy to go back into this. You can access it from the portal. You can change that particular upload or that particular document, re-upload it, and hit submit again. So it takes the last submission that's actually on the system, right? And, you know, like we were talking about before, it's better than, you know, trying to upload everything for the first time at 10 to 4 on the 26th of February, or even that day, right? So don't do it that day. Try at least to do it the day before. So yeah, so it says here, submit it as early as possible. You can update and improve version many times if you want. So yeah. And then in 6 months' time or 5 months' time, you'll get an email telling you whether you got it or not. And the feedback is very detailed. They will go through all the award criteria and explain why they gave the points or why they didn't, or where the weaknesses were, where the strengths were. So it's a really detailed, and it's a really transparent way to do, and it's a business plan for your project. You'll be dealing with stuff that you hadn't necessarily thought about before. You will have those conversations with your code developer that you haven't had, that you know, it's like, oh, we haven't thought about, you know, the risk management element of it, and what are your risks in relation to this project. And you know, so it is like a business plan for your project, and it's but the collaboration, the strength of the collaboration, and you can see it across the board, whether that's in the creative dossier, whether it's in the budget, in the way the rights are distributed, like all of that. It shows that the level of collaboration, and that's what they want to see. They want to see a close collaboration with companies, and most of the points go through that. Anybody still there? So that haven't scared all of you off anyway. It is detailed. I mean, that was 2 hours. I know it was a bit of a technical issue, but it is detail, and it is recording. I was afraid it wasn't recording. So I'm just going to pause that now.